Do you want to work for the Boston Consulting Group? BCG is one of the world's most renowned consulting firms. It's the second largest of the top three out of McKinsey, Bain, and BCG. And the firm is known for thought leadership, innovation, and honestly, just being an overall group of really, really smart and nice people. BCG is a world-class organization, and they protect their reputation by having a rigorous hiring process. In fact, under 3% of candidates make it through to an offer at BCG. This is such a small acceptance rate that it's important to understand what BCG recruiting looks like. So we're going to talk through the hiring practices, the case interview, the timelines, and more. Let's jump in. BCG recruits through two broad channels: on-campus hiring, where they're going to target universities, and through traditional online hiring, where they're capturing everyone else, whether you're at a non-target or whether you're an experienced hire. On-campus hiring for BCG begins in June and July. They have their first deadlines for undergraduate internships and full-time opportunities at the target universities where they work. And they use groups like Handshake to open up these opportunities with specific deadlines. You want to pay really close attention because BCG has gone to a multiple deadline format, kind of like college admissions, where it becomes possible to miss a deadline and therefore apply too late for the first round. Why is this important? Well, BCG is so competitive that sometimes they'll fill all their spots in the first round of hiring, and they'll just basically hold people on a wait list or have very, very few spots available in later rounds of hiring. So you definitely want to make sure that you're ready for and game on in the first round of hiring. It's also important to note that undergrad and master students, specifically specialty master's programs that do not require significant amounts of work experience, are on the same timeline. Now, the only difference for this is that MBAs are on a very different timeline, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. BCG has great programs for freshman and sophomore candidates. This helps them with diversity hiring, and it also gives them exposure to top candidates early. The two programs are called Bridge to Consulting and the Growing Future Leaders program. These two programs can be found on BCG's website for more information. Juniors and seniors apply in the June to July timeframe that I mentioned earlier, both for full-time and for internship roles. If you're at a target school, which is a school where BCG holds an information session and does active on-campus recruiting, usually with a specific pool of people that they'll hire from each of their target campuses, make sure you take full advantage of every event that BCG conducts on your campus. Moving on to MBA recruiting. MBAs recruit for full-time roles out of their second year, starting in August. So it feels a little bit early. You're just fresh off of your internship. What this means is that usually MBAs who are thinking about re-recruiting into consulting, either to another firm or from an alternative option if they pursued, for example, strategy, and now they want to go into consulting, that you need to begin your preparation process as early as May or June. That way, when you get the opportunity to apply in August, you're fully ready for the case interview. First-year full-time MBAs go through the recruiting process in two ways. First of all, there are diversity conferences that usually happen in September and October. These diversity conferences can be a great way to break into consulting. But in addition, there are core recruiting timelines, which begin in November for resume drops, and interviews start in December and January. It runs by university, and some of them have different timelines. So just make sure to check in with your career service office. And if you're at a non-target university, be aware of these timelines so that you can break into BCG by networking and getting opportunities to interview just before the full-time MBAs get their chance. If you're not sure whether you're going to a BCG target school and you're about to start, or if you're thinking about different schools and you haven't decided yet, check out our list of BCG target schools so you can help make your decision. In addition to undergrad and specialty master's hiring, plus their MBA hiring programs, in the most recent years, BCG has increased its exposure in ADC programming. ADC stands for Advanced Degree Candidate, and BCG pursues people that have PhDs, advanced degrees such as MDs or law degrees, and more. And these programs come in at the same level as an MBA. But BCG recognizes that not everybody has the same business background or even analytical background to work through a case interview and to be prepared for the job. So they provide additional support. BCG has recently upped its advanced degree hiring game by creating a program called Bridge to BCG. This is an opportunity to drop in a resume and cover letter, or a story that explains a background that helps you build relevance to BCG, to go through an interview process, and then to go through a special program in the summer. When you succeed at all of those steps, you get an option to do an early interview with BCG for full-time hiring. It's the best way to guarantee success, at least through the interview process. Of course, there's case interview preparation that has to happen after that to ensure that you can succeed as well. If you're planning to apply to a Bridge to BCG program, we would love to help you. It is a very competitive process, and having a leg up can be super helpful, especially if you've never done anything in business or consulting before. It's also important to note that BCG does hire full-time as well, even though the Bridge to BCG program is the best way to go. So if you missed that, or if you're focused on just going for full-time and not through Bridge to BCG, just make sure that you pay attention to hiring deadlines. They can run depending on the market and the office from June through August. So just get ready and make sure that you begin your prep at least 2 to 3 months in advance. But what if you don't come from a target university or even from university at all? How do you break into BCG? Well, there's a second process, which is online hiring, otherwise known as lateral hiring into BCG. This is when you will go through the traditional networking process to get a referral. You'll apply for BCG online, and then you will interview, usually via Zoom in your first interview, and then directly with the offices afterwards. BCG does bring in working professionals for 2 main reasons. One, they often find great generalists that have had good work experience. You're analytical, you've worked for great branding companies, etc. They also have expert hiring tracks. And these experts are focused on advising teams across many different disciplines in a practice area or in a specific industry, such as healthcare. One fun fact about consulting is that the largest wave of folks that leave consulting is in the spring. And so sometimes there's a gap between people who leave in the spring after they get their winter bonus checks and the people who come on in the summer or the fall. That's the time that you want to strike if you're interested in doing lateral or online hiring with BCG, because they're the most likely to have open and available positions. Now, in every economic environment, this doesn't always work. So make sure always to network with somebody before you drop a blind application for BCG. If you're going through the lateral or the online hiring process, there are just 2 main things you have to keep in mind. Number 1, your resume and your cover letter have to be an ace. Not an A-, not a B, and certainly not a C. These have to be absolutely on point. They also need to be specifically tailored to BCG. In your cover letter, you need to explain who you've talked to, what office you're interested in, and specifically why you're focused on BCG. In addition, in your resume, you have to demonstrate an aptitude for analytics because BCG is such a heavily analytical firm. But you also need to demonstrate that you're interesting, compelling, fun to talk to, and an achiever. If it's hard for you to figure out whether your story will resonate with BCG or not, work with us on an amazing resume cover letter overhaul. We will help you tell your story in a way that is driven and compelling and focused for BCG specifically. But once you've got your resume all dialed in, there's still more to do, because for BCG in their lateral hiring program, it's a black hole if you don't have a referral to go with it. BCG relies heavily on their current consultants to be a first round filter for people who are thinking about going into consulting. And so you need to spend 15 minutes, that's it, on the phone with somebody from BCG. They'll be able to give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and they'll add their referral to your application if you're a great candidate. If you don't go through this process, you risk falling entirely through the cracks, wasting your time, and actually getting rejected and told that you only have a new application period opening for you in 12 to 18 months. So don't take that risk. Make sure that you both have a great resume and cover letter and also a networking referral to go with it. The final step in the BCG process is a BCG case interview, and these case interviews are like no other. In my personal opinion, I think BCG case interviews are the hardest interviews out there. For McKinsey, you have hard math. For BCG, you have a whole hard interview, because you as the candidate have to not only know how to do a case interview, but you have to lead your interviewer through it. Now, BCG folks are nice. They're creative, they're conversational, and they're looking for those same attributes in you. But don't underestimate the BCG case interview. It is challenging and it is so easy to lose your way, to lose your focus, and to lose your ability to actually solve the problem. If you've got questions about breaking into BCG for everything from resumes all the way through the interview, if you're interested in timelines, if you're interested in levels, if you're interested in tips and tricks, we're the source for you. We would love to work with you to break into BCG, and we've helped thousands of people do exactly that in multiple offices all over the world. We would love to walk with you in your journey through Black Belt or some of our other services. For more information, please reach out directly.